Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Welcome to episode 53.
53.
53. Erin's all decked out in her Santa Claus.
It's Christmas time.
Christmas in the city.
It's Christmas. It's Hanukkah. It's Kwanzaa. Happy.
That's right.
Whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. We hope it is a joyous one. Because we all deserve a nice joyous time, whatever that looks like for you. We hope it's a good one. And we're going to bring some magic today too, because I think we're going to be talking about Krampus. Because
I'm ready. I got my candy cane candle burning.
Ooh. Amy's got her red glasses.
My red glasses.
I think I was thinking of Halloween for a little
We're
bit.
good. I got this ready to go.
Yes.
So the Witch Yule Oracle. We are festive and in the right mood.
I will say I tried to see if I could get my Santa hat, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't close enough.
You tried.
I tried. Welcome. Let's get into some folklore, but also we're going to be talking a little bit about actual paranormal, stay with me now, phenomenon of kids seeing Santa Claus and hearing Santa Claus. And I have a story to share as well about my own experience.
Okay.
First, we're going to talk about Santa's evil brother. I don't know if they're brothers, but I like to think of Krampus as like his evil twin. So Krampus is said to be half goat, half demon. If you remember, we talked about him and how it's celebrated in different parts of Europe. So he's a half goat, half demon, and he comes in and he's dragging chains behind him. He also is said to bring birch sticks specifically with him and said to swat naughty children. So if you guys want to scare your kids a little bit, you can tell them that Krampus is coming with some birch sticks. Yeah, maybe not. Krampus is part of the Christmas tradition in Germany, so it's said to where this sort of originated from. Krampus in folklore shows up December 5th. This is known as, and I apologize to my German friends, Krampusnacht, or Krampsu night, or is that a spelling error? That could be Krampus night. The next day, okay. So on December 5th, it's like Krampus night or Krampusnacht, and then the next day, look at me trying to like.
You're trying.
Know how I pronounce German. So the next day, December 6th, is known as Nikolastag or St. Nicholas Day. So this would be the time traditionally when children would look outside their door to see if a shoe or boot that they left out the night before contains either a reward or a gift from St. Nick or a rod from Krampus for bad behavior. So instead of coal, we've got rods. Not too sure when we started to switch over to coal. Like maybe that's when, I don't know, Catholicism kind of came into play, or the church came in. I thought it was interesting. I'm just going to read this from National Geographic on that note of the church. So they say this, so it's where I got some of my information on Krampus. So it says, Krampus's frightening presence was suppressed for many years. The Catholic Church forbade the celebrations, and fascists in World War II Europe found Krampus despicable because it was considered a creation of the Social Democrats. So yeah, I was like, oh, political ties here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Makes sense though. So he was kind of forgotten about it, but I feel like Krampus has made kind of a resurgence. As we like kind of go into the present day a little bit more. And in Europe, parts of Europe, again, he's celebrated by people dressing up as this demonic creature, running around and scaring people. And of course, we're seeing a little bit more. We talked about the US movie Krampus, which is a good time just to watch if you're interested in something a little spooky around the holidays. I don't know why. I don't know, Amy, if you feel this way. I love scary Christmas movies. Like, do you like? No way.
I'm not a scary movie fan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In general. But my teen has asked me repeatedly if I will watch Krampus with her.
Oh, really?
Maybe I will.
I'll come over and watch it with her. It's not that scary. It's not that scary. Yeah, it's okay.
More spooky?
Yeah, it's more spooky, and there's some humor to it too. It's got like some funny comedic relief elements, which I always appreciate in a scary movie. Okay, so that's Krampus in a nutshell, and I just wanted to touch on him a little bit more. But this one kind of I get personally excited about, because I've had, when I was a kid, an experience that I couldn't explain, and I remember talking to my parents about it, and they just chalked it up to me being like, "Oh, you're a kid. It's just your imagination at play."
Yeah.
So I'll get into my experience, but I'm going to talk a little bit about, stay with me, okay? But we talked a little bit about, Amy, well, we've talked a lot about how thought creates, okay? And this has come up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, we can manifest our own reality. So if thought creates, and we're talking about things on a collective level, like we talked about previously in the last episode about retrograde, right? Where we think, maybe, it's become this like spooky thing in itself, because a lot of people associate retrograde with like chaos in some sense, right? So therefore, I believe the chaos will happen. Therefore, that explains these like chaotic things, okay?
Right.
There are people that believe that Santa Claus is that Santa Claus himself could be considered a tulpa. So I think we brought tulpas up a little bit, but tulpas are basically thought forms manifested. Some paranormal researchers also think that, and we talked a bit about this as well when we brought up the Philip experiment that happened here in Toronto, where they created this like ghost. So some people think if you go into a building, you think bad spirits, spooky spirits here. Yeah. The more people that go in thinking bad spirit, spooky, you're kind of creating that energy. And I think that's happened. I really definitely believe that could explain maybe some of these paranormal events that people are experiencing, that it's not so much somebody that lived a physical life, that it's people creating this. So that's kind of what some people believe that Santa Claus is. What do you think about that, Amy? Do you feel like Santa Claus could be a tulpa? Do you think there's something to it?
It's interesting. Yeah, like my gut instinct, I know this is like very off topic and I won't get too much into it, but I have expressed like my interest in religion before. Stay with me. My idea of like that Jesus was a real person.
Yes.
But he also, represented and is an archetype in a sense for, the human condition and like evolution and what we should be to each other. And so I think of Santa Claus a little bit like that. I do, something in me kind of makes me feel as if there would have been an actual person that may have, had that spirit about them, that may have gifted things to people.
Well, I think that's where Santa Claus did come through. Hang on, let me just take a quick. I think that you're right. Oh my God, Erin.
Like, I think there was a real person, but I also think the reason this stayed with us and became what it is because it's kind of like an archetype for us, right? Like it's a representation, like a manifestation of the human spirit in some way, and to be giving and jolly and kind and giving and all of the things that Santa represents for us. And I think it's just like,
Yeah. So
that's what I think.
here on history.com, you're right. It says that the legend of Santa Claus can be traced back hundreds of years to a monk named Saint Nicholas. And it is believed, and I'm reading from the site, it is believed that Nicholas was born sometime around 2080 AD in Patara near Myra in modern Turkey. Go away. So something just popped up on my screen. Yeah. So in modern day Turkey, much admired for his kindness, Saint Nicholas became the subject of many legends. It is said that he gave away all of his inherited wealth and traveled the countryside helping the poor and sick. So it says one of the best known Saint Nicholas stories is the time he saved 3 poor sisters from being sold into slavery or prostitution by their father, and he provided them with a dowry so that they could be married. And then they go on to say that over the years, Nicholas's popularity spread and he became known as the protector of children and sailors. And so his feast day is celebrated on the anniversary of his death, which is December 6th, which is why we have St. Nicholas Day, which I just talked about with Krampus. Krampus is December 5th, and then St. Nicholas Day is December 6th.
Interesting.
Really, really cool.
So it's like the light in the dark almost a little bit.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Yes. And there's also this tie with the Salvation Army on here that says that the Salvation Army has been sending Santa Claus clad donation collectors into the streets since the 1890s.
Okay.
And then Santa Claus comes to New York in the end of the 18th century.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so it definitely has like evolved into this like archetype that, you know, associated now with Christmas, right? With and with giving. That's where it really came about. So that's really, really cool. But then there's also that like supernatural element to Santa Claus, right? That he has a sleigh and he uses it to travel to hundreds of children across the world, and he gives gifts to everybody, right?
His bag is like this big, but it fits the world's population of children's gifts in there. He's magic, right?
He's magic. He comes down your chimney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this kind of came to me again because I was inspired by a podcast that I listened to, where they talked about there's actual stories of people experiencing Santa Claus, the essence or the energy, I guess, of Santa Claus, or his tulpa form, tulpa Santa. I tried so hard, and I kept telling you I'm gonna have an EVP. So an EVP, it stands for electronic voice phenomenon for our listeners who might not be aware. And it's that which you record on audio, and when you're recording it, you're not hearing it in the physical space, but it's captured just on audio.
Yeah.
There is a clip, or there is a recording, I swear to God, of Greg and Dana Newkirk. We just talked about them. I remember seeing it, I don't know, however many few years ago. If you want to do a deep dive, if you can find it, please let me know. But there is an EVP of somebody coming through as a Santa Claus on it. And it sounds like Santa Claus. Yeah. So there's that you know, who knows? Maybe it's a trickster spirit saying, I'm Santa Claus, which, you know, very well could be. But I thought that was pretty cool. So I did try really, really hard to find it, but I could not find it. I wanted to share some stories that I found too, of people who have experienced Santa Claus sightings. There is a gentleman by the name of Stephen Wagner. Okay. And he has been collecting stories. He has a website, and it's like www.liveabout.com/Santa Claus sightings. Some of his stories go back all the way to the 70s. He's been collecting the 60s, and he's been collecting stories of this phenomenon. One article that I found said that one boy said he saw red lights in the sky, and when he looked up, it looked like Santa's sleigh, and he could hear the bells. So that's as like detailed as you get. Like that, you know, sounds like UFO, right? Kind of phenomenon. So there's a story in this, and I'm going to read the story, how it's written from the website liveabout.com. There's quite a few on there. I just picked 2, and then I'll talk about my own experience.
Yes.
Memphis, this happened in Memphis, Tennessee. So 1980s, and then something again came up in 2009. So this person says, I grew up in a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee in the 1980s. I was 8 or 9 years old. My parents and I were coming home from a Christmas party on Christmas Eve. When we pulled up in the driveway, we saw Santa Claus in a sleigh hovering above our house. All we could hear were sleigh bells. The sleigh was illuminated so that we could see Santa, it says, in full outfit in the sleigh. I remember seeing reindeer, but I don't know how many there were. Santa waved at us and flew off in the sleigh. He says, I'll never forget it, and I'll never forget my dad's face of total shock. He was an air traffic controller, and when he went back to work after the holidays, he asked about it, and nothing came up. So maybe like trying to kind of explain away, was there some dude dressed as Santa going around? Was there something in the sky that maybe my mind was playing tricks on me? Then fast forward to 2009 when this person's a bit older. It says that in another bizarre twist on Black Friday 2009, which actually we're coming up to Black Friday this year, I was waiting in line at a local Target store and broke out into conversation with another lady in line. We were talking, and this goes about like synchronicities. We were talking about Christmas shopping, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she mentioned that her brother had seen Santa Claus in his sleigh 2 years before. I stood with my mouth wide open because, like before maybe he saw Santa Claus, I stood with my mouth wide open because I couldn't believe it. Every Christmas Eve, I still think about him, and I look outside my window in hopes to get a glimpse. Thoughts, Amy?
I don't know.
I mean, because we're talking about Santa Claus, right? It's like, yeah, we'll sit here, we'll talk about Bigfoot, no problem. But it's like, oh, talking about Santa Claus being possibly like I'm getting like kind of like goosebumpies. I don't know if you're getting goosebumpies, but
like yeah. I can. It's hard for you. It's hard because like if there's any children listening, like quiet their ears or leave them. I'm a parent, so I know that I'm Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's where the layer of like comes from, because, but at the same time, I believe in things that are unseen and that we can't explain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. And I believe in the magic of Christmas, and I believe in the spirit of Christmas and the energy of Christmas. So it makes me kind of wonder about like if that's a manifestation of like, because we see sometimes what we want to see or what we understand, right? Like we often say like spirit uses our frame of reference and shows us something to get us to the thing, even if that thing is different than what they're trying to, like it's a different experience, but they know that we'll connect the dots if they show us something that we understand. So part of me thinks like, is that a manifestation of the energy and the magic of Christmas that we have associated with a person? That's where my mind goes, rather than like an actual like real ghost of Santa.
Like I can definitely see how this could be like a tulpa, or like if millions of kids around the world, like truly, like if you asked any kid, most of them, right, they'd say, yeah, Santa Claus is real. Like you're stupid. He's not real. Like, yeah, obviously, of course. I had Santa Claus is real with conviction, right?
Me too.
Like if you have that level of conviction, and like we've talked about kids see things, right, that like we can't see. We just talked about, animals' reality, their reality being different. I feel like the same thing is with kids. Our reality shifts as we get older, right? So who's to say that maybe this isn't happening, or like the kids aren't experiencing this?
And I'm thinking about like obviously as a parent, I know that I'm the one to leave the gifts under the tree, right? But what I think it's about is like there's an energy, there's a spirit of Christmas that brings that into us, that makes us want to give and makes us want to create all that magic, right? And that's the thing that everybody's tapping into, to the point where it's just become like a celebrated holiday. Like there's not one person on the earth that I think, even if they don't celebrate the Christmas, they know what Christmas is, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's that. I think it's
and
like
then it's manifesting
it's manifesting
form
through us to be that jolly, giving person, that kind person, that and also like that we can, because if you really think about it, like again, as a parent, and I'm thinking to myself as a parent, like I create the magic for my kids every year, like with the decorations and the events and the traditions and all that stuff, right? So it's like that, but that's manifestation because I'm creating the magic. If I didn't do it, those things aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think in a way, it's like to bring that magic into us as well, to be like, you can create this.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe it at Christmas because we're just on autopilot. But like if we carried that forward to other things, I don't know. That's just where my mind is going. I don't know how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's also reports of like parents saying that the cookies are eaten and they didn't touch the cookies, or their kids, like they woke up before their, who knows?
Who knows?
I know my parents like literally did this one year. Like they went so far as to put out like we would put out like carrots, or we would put out some seeds, and you'd get these like rabbit footprints, or that looked like kind of hooves in the snow, and you'd think, oh my god, that's Santa Claus's reindeer. And they literally put like boot prints on the carpet near the like, that's, you know, and I'm like, I'm so there. That is how I want to be as a parent. Like I'm gonna level it up, you know. But how do you explain some of these people that are like, I thought I saw this sleigh in the sky? It doesn't sound believable. But then neither do these UFO reports, and we're hearing about these things that are like, you know, we can't explain some of it.
My mind constantly goes to like, are like with when we're talking about UFOs, for instance, like, are those actual like physical vessels that are actually there? Or, you know, we've talked about this in one of the other episodes. It's like, if this is all the Matrix and we are creating and projecting this story, like, is that just representative of something?
Yeah. Is this our creation?
Is that really aliens coming here? Or is it is it a manifestation of like something within us going, hey, there's more than you think there is. This is just a way to kind of wake us up to it.
Yeah.
To like other life forms. I don't know. Like,
I don't know either. I don't know. Right? Because there's that, did it happen in New Mexico or somewhere in Mexico? No, not in New Mexico.
Are you talking about the Unsolved Mysteries episode again?
No, but did they? Oh, maybe I missed it. But they talked about
the UFO episode on that, the newest season.
Maybe not that. But there's somewhere in a different part of the world. Is it in Africa? Somewhere. But these group of school children all the children saw the exact same thing. And this big UFO, like this big spaceship craft, landed. Okay. And these aliens, quote unquote, these beings came out of this vessel, spoke to the kids telepathically, and basically said, you guys need to start taking care of your planet. We're coming to you. Like, things are going to happen. You need to release. A lot of like UFO reports are about like the planet and like taking care of the planet. Right. And maybe that's our projection of being like, guys, we got to get our shit together. We got to change the planet. But all these kids saw the exact same thing. And people came in, government officials, like air marshals, you know what I mean, to investigate, to like interview these kids. And if everybody's saying we saw the exact same, like, what is that? What is that? What is it, you guys?
Sometimes I wonder about like, I know this is like maybe going to be like really off the wall, but like what if aliens, or like what we perceive as aliens, are like the future
us,
like the future human? Yeah,
there's that too. There's that belief
to warn ourselves.
But seriously, that's like a belief in the UFO community that could very well be our future
in some
selves.
sort of weird way. Like that's the future human, where we have figured out how to. Cause like my husband and I've had this talk recently because he goes, "You're not one of those UFO people, are you?" It was after I was watching the episode with Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know what kind of person I am. I'm very open-minded, and like the more open-minded I become, the more I go, who am I to say that can't be possible? So for me, I'm just like, what if, because he goes, well, the amount of time it would take for them to come to us, like why would they do that? And I'm like, because what if they just figured out the space-time continuum? Like what if it was like a manifestation, like I'm there instantly? Like what if it was that? Who are we to say that that's not accurate, right?
And maybe like, these beings are, maybe they don't even look like that. Like maybe that's just because what our mind perceives these beings to look like, right? That this is what they look like now, that there's been so much TV, so many movies on, oh, here are these alien grays, or this is what they look like, right? Big heads, small bodies, big eyes.
So that's what we collectively, that's the imprint.
That's the imprint. That's what we're perceiving. Like I've heard that
We've
theory
talked about
too.
Collective imprinting before, like when you talk about the witch wound and like witchcraft and things like that collectively imprints on our subconscious, and then it is just a thing. It's just like Santa.
And I was just going to say that could definitely explain all of these sightings.
Yeah.
There's, okay, so I'm gonna, oh man. So there's one, also, there's a few others. Oh my gosh. There's actually quite a few sites that talk about this phenomenon. So if you are interested, highly encourage you guys just to take a quick Googs and see what you can find. But there's one witness that says that they woke up around 2:30 in the morning to use the bathroom, and they saw Santa Claus sit in a recliner eating a plate of cookies, saying they silently tipped downstairs, peeked their head through around the corner to look in the living room, and there was Santa Claus in the recliner eating the cookies that was left in the tree. And the person said, this guy was way too big to be my father. So, who knows? There's another sighting. I know we're running out of time. But there is, lost it. There's another sighting. So this apparently happened, I think 2006. I don't know. This is when the date says. And it says 3 Christmases ago, I was coming home from my aunt's. We were having a party, and I was crying because one of my cousins told me that Santa wasn't real. Then we come around the corner of my street, and there was a big red sleigh and reindeer sitting on my roof. Then Santa popped out of my chimney. I told everybody the next morning to see if they could remember, but they couldn't. But a couple of days ago, my dad went up on the roof to fix the leak, and there were long, straight lines across the roof. I took a picture and showed it to my baby cousins, and they told them always believe. So there we have some... even a physical manifestation. So, okay. When I was a kid, and I remember thinking, I know my parent, even as I got older and I'm thinking about this, I know my parents, and if you're listening, I know that you are, and if you tell me right now that this was you, then I will wipe this off and I will say, okay, this was you, and I will believe it for sure. I was a little kid, and who knows how old, but I woke up in the middle of the night. Oh, this is how I knew it wasn't, okay. So I knew it wasn't my dad because I could hear, well, maybe it was him, but I could hear the TV on downstairs. So it was still kind of like that time, but I'm not kidding you. I heard footprints, boot prints on the roof. Stepping. Footsteps on the roof, right? We're on the top floor. The roof is literally above me, okay? And I'm hearing these footprints, and then I'm not kidding, I heard bells, sleigh bells, and I thought, oh my God, he's here already? It's so early. I was Dad's not even asleep yet. Why are you here? And I'm I better go back to sleep. And I quickly went back to sleep. But I'll never forget that. That happened to me. And I kind of chalked it up, and I thought, oh, maybe my dad did go up on the roof, and maybe that was him.
But also, how likely would that be in December, right?
In December, when it's snowy and it's so dangerous, and my mom's asleep, and Right? And my roof isn't a flat roof, guys. It's slanted. Like, it's a slanted roof. The chimney is one of those, like, really thin chimneys, right? Where it's like in that Tim Allen movie, right? You see him kind of...
Speaking of Tim Allen, there's a new Santa Claus movie coming out.
Did
you
see that? I'm so stoked. Excited. Wait, is it a movie or is it a TV series?
I think it's a movie.
It's a movie?
Don't quote me on that. I interpreted it to be a new movie.
Santa Claus.
What is it called again? The Santa Clauses or something? I don't know what it is.
Santa Claus. Oh, I can't even see it. Oh, no, it's a miniseries that's going to come out. Yeah, the Santa Clauses. It's a TV miniseries.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was a movie. Okay. So it's like a TV show kind of
thing? Yeah. I guess they're going to do like however many episodes, and it's going to be just a little bit of a series.
Oh, I didn't know. Awesome.
Which I love. That means it's going to be longer than a movie. Sorry.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. You know what? I've noticed that you brought up bells a few times and like hearing bells. Mm-hmm. And that just reminds me of I'm gonna share something that came up in a reading anonymously. But I did a reading probably a month ago for somebody, and I brought up bells. I feel I brought up bells like organically, like it came through. And then the person also asked about bells, like asked me to intuitively feel out like what does that mean. But there was messages also around Christmas that came in this reading, and like a specific movie that was watched with a parent, and I was like seeing the scene play out as if like to say like still do that, I'll still be with you in spirit. But the bells kept coming in, and what I was feeling about this, like what I was channeling about it, was that it was like it was a clairaudient way in which her loved ones would say, I'm close by. So she would hear the bell. Like they weren't in her environment, right?
Yeah.
They were. And that's what I wonder. Like, I wonder if when you heard the bells, if it was clairaudient, hearing the bells. Like it might be hard to remember now because you were a little kid. Remember.
Honestly, but it just sounded like it was outside. Like it was. And that's what we say spirit is. It's like that echoey, right? When we hear things, it sounds echoey.
As kids, we might not even know to decipher like whether or not something's in our environment or we're hearing it clairaudiently. It might be just the same thing to us, right? Like where we're not discerning between the two. But yeah, it was interesting because there was a Christmas kind of message, but then also bells. And like, this is the way in which I make my presence known, as you hear the little jingle bells.
Maybe it was collectively my ancestors being like, you better get your butt to sleep.
Maybe it's a collective manifestation. Like,
but it could be. Who knows? Yeah. All I know is that I was like, holy crap, Santa Claus is real. I got to go back to bed. Otherwise, I won't get any gifts.
Christmas is so magical.
It is.
So magical.
Although, you know what? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say when I was a kid, like I was hardcore. Like I still am hardcore Christmas. But I mean, I always say to myself, like, I wish, like, I remember saying to my mom, like, the days when I believed in Santa, like I wish that I could have that magic again. Like there's just like beyond like
Amy,
the magic.
You still can. Santa's a tulpa.
I know, and that's what I'm thinking about. I can manifest that for myself here, like, right? Like just a change in perspective, because that was completely magical. Yeah, and my grandfather would he had a very deep rural voice. And I thought it was Santa. I really did. But he would call me, he would call my friends, my neighbor, like the neighborhood kids. He'd get everybody's phone number. And he called me every Christmas Eve, and I swore that was Santa. Like you
were like, my grandfather's Santa.
I'm like, Santa is calling me on the phone, you know? Like, and it was amazing. It was such an amazing thing to do. Yeah. He was and the people that like my friends that he did that for too, they're like, I'll never forget that because I really thought that was Santa calling.
Yeah, no kidding.
I love it.
Yeah, that's it. Do you want to pull a card?
Yeah, let's pull a card from this Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. So I'm doing this. Erin doesn't have a Christmas deck, so I just figured I would do this for the collective.
Take one for the team.
Okay, I love it. It's card 38.
Does it say Santa Claus is real? Sorry.
No, but hold on. What page is this going to be on?
Card 38. Laugh so hard.
You would die?
I would die.
Okay, that's 37. There's 38. Okay. telling stories.
Aww.
Look at they're at the fireplace, the chimney.
Really cute.
It's really cute. It says keywords: truth, speaking up for yourself. So this is just a collective message for whenever you're listening to this. Mm-hmm. What words so tender can be spoken so bravely unless they are true from the truest of words? Stories have been passed down for generations, for millennia. This is what we were talking about a little bit. Mm-hmm. Stories keep traditions alive, giving voice to loved ones past and teaching us valuable lessons to carry into adulthood. One of these lessons is the power of speaking your truth and knowing where you come from. There is power in what you say and what you have. And when you have pulled telling stories, you are being guided to be mindful of the words you send out into the world. This blows my mind because I don't know if it was this episode or another one. I feel like it was another one we recorded today, in which I said, it was the update one where we're just going to give an update. And then I stopped myself and I said, we're not just doing anything. We're giving an update because I've been really mindful about the words that I'm putting out, right?
Yep.
It's not just anything. That's diminishing what it is. So interestingly enough, this is kind of validating that about the importance of being mindful of like the words you put out into the world. Are you using words to encourage or to hurt? Do you speak of yourself and others with kindness and compassion, or are the stories you tell full of low vibrational energies? Your words, we've talked about words and thoughts creating. Your words control more than you think. A compliment can change someone's day. An affirmation can remind you of a commitment you've made to yourself to change an outdated belief. And of course, there are stories you tell about yourself. The words you say internally are even more important than the words you say out loud. This card guides you to speak to yourself with only self-love and self-worth.
I love it.
And that's so the true. Spirit of Santa Claus.
Yep. Yes.
And the traditions and passing it on. And I felt like that was such a nod to the archetype of what
really, really, really beautiful. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love it too. You're welcome. I've got goosies.
Goosies!
Thanks for leading this episode and all the research you did on Krampus.
Oh, yeah. That's so much research.
And Santa. Research is huge. Like if anybody wants to go down the rabbit hole and research something.
Oh, yeah, please. Cool. Yeah, there's like a few. I think like there was one article too. The Boston Globe. I think they talk about it too. There's an article there. There's another article that I pulled up called StrangeDimensions.com. Talks about all these sightings. So yeah, if you guys want to. Oh, and they also talk about bells. There's a lot of bells stuff here. I literally. Like scroll down and it just was bells, silver bells just pops up.
There's something there then, yeah.
Yeah, it says many Santa Claus encounters, including several of those shared by Wagner, involve hearing sleigh bells. Wow. Cool.
Wow, right? Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.